something you thought could have been a little bit longer or anything else they could have added to episode 1 and realized that they gave us this scene with Bronn instead. This leads me to believe that Bronn has an important role to play in the endgame of one of our main characters, and I think I know what it is. Let's look into who that might be. First things first, Bronn's story has gone a different direction in the books. I won't go into it too deeply because I want to keep this short, but Bronn hasn't actually showed up in the books since he turned down Tyrion's offer to be his champion in the trial by combat. The updates we do get about Bronn and what he's up to in the books all come through Cersei. He ends up following through with the marriage to Lollies that she set up, and later she becomes the Lady of Stokeworth with Bronn as its lord. Cersei is the catalyst for this as well, but not because she's trying to help Bronn get his castle. In fact, in her paranoia, which I discuss more in the Cersei video I made in my problem series, she starts to worry that Bronn might still be in contact with or under the control of Tyrion. So she launches a plan to have him killed. This backfires, and in the end, Bronn is in Stokeworth with Lollies. This obviously doesn't line up with what's happened in the show, so what I think is important here is that Cersei doesn't trust Bronn because of his connection with Tyrion. And that does line up with what I said in my episode 1 recap. While it seems like a bad choice to choose Bronn for this job, even if he doesn't follow through, it gets him away from Cersei. If he kills them, then that's a bonus. If he doesn't, at least he's not a potential threat for the Queen inside King's Landing. Qyburn even points out that Tyrion and Jaime aren't likely to survive their northern adventures when he puts up her proposal. So what did we see in the actual scene? Bronn is entertaining some working girls and Qyburn interrupts. He tells Bronn that Jaime and Tyrion had broken their promises and that the Queen wants to rectify the situation. Bronn brings up that Cersei had also broken her promise of giving him a wife and a castle, and Qyburn says that Jaime did that, not her. He tells him that there's gold waiting outside, gives him the crossbow that Tyrion used to kill Tywin, and implies that there would be more of a reward if he actually follows through. I think the natural thing that we're supposed to wonder about is if Bronn, who paints himself as a mercenary that will do anything for the right price, will go through with killing them or not. I think that's unlikely based on what we've seen, and I think that Bronn does have a sense of loyalty to both Tyrion and Jaime. On top of that, he has to know Cersei doesn't have much of a chance to hold on to her crown if Daenerys and her dragons survive the battle in the north. I just don't think there's great motivation for him to actually kill them. I think the fact that they included this scene at all means that it's about something else. In Season 5, Episode 4, Bronn and Jaime travel to Dorne. They have a conversation about ways to die after Bronn kills the snake that was getting ready to bite Jaime while he was sleeping. When asked how he'd like to go, Jaime says, "In the arms of the woman I love." Now, I think most people expect that Jaime's going to die before Season 8 ends. I know I put him in my death predictions video, and I think the better question is with whom Jaime will die rather than if he will die. Since this episode aired back in Season 5, people have speculated that it might be Brienne, and I think this Bronn scene seals the deal. This is why. I know a lot of people are talking about this trial Jaime's going to have to go through in Episode 2. We've seen that in the trailer for Episode 2, but we've also seen him fighting later on in the Battle of Winterfell from the original trailer. So we know one way or another that trial isn't very important as far as him being found guilty or something along those lines. It's actually going to be a reveal. I think that Bran will probably intervene with evidence about what really happened with the Mad King, that Jaime actually broke his oath and killed him to protect the people, and in a very dramatic fashion, that truth will finally get out there. We know that Bran has seen this in his visions. He's seen the Mad King in his visions, and we know that Jaime has been haunted by this idea of being known as the Kingslayer. Before that happens, I expect that Brienne will make a passionate plea to everyone, and that Jaime will be moved by this. Obviously, there is love between Jaime and Brienne, but I think this moment will make that clear for everyone to see. Then, when Bronn arrives, he'll tell Jaime that Cersei sent him there to kill him, and that will finally be when Jaime's love for Cersei truly comes to an end. Since I think he will die, and I think it's likely to be in Brienne's arms, I think this could be Bronn's real importance for the end of the story. In my thinking, it has to be clear to Jaime in his heart and in his head who the woman he loves is. I think the crossbow could probably play a part in this as well. Of course, they used that as a callback in an episode with a crazy amount of callback, but you have to admit that it seemed like a weird touch to include. My guess is that this is what Bronn will use as proof of Cersei's intention. Jaime left Cersei to go north, but he's loved her for as long as he can remember, more or less. When he told Bronn he would die in the arms of the woman he loved, he was obviously talking about Cersei. I think when he sees the crossbow, he'll have to confront the truth, and this will push him in Brienne's direction. Now, admittedly, I have been a Jaime as the Ballancar fan for a long time. I've always thought it was a fitting end for both characters. And yes, I understand they changed what Maggie said in the show. I actually made a video about that a few years ago. But I still think that it's baked into Cersei's motivations. What I mean is that I don't think you can create an adaptation of the character in the books without having this be part of her motivation, whether it's explicitly stated or not. Cersei is a paranoid human being. It's what drives her. And this idea of him killing her has made it difficult to decide when Jaime might actually go out. But as far as dying in Brienne's arms is concerned, I guess it doesn't matter. He could die in the battle fighting by her side, or he could die later in King's Landing, but either way, I think Brienne will be involved with his end. I also have always liked the idea that Brienne would fill out his pages in the White Book, but who knows if the Kingsguard or the White Book will even exist when all is said and done. The important part is that Bronn will explain what the Queen is up to Jaime, and he will realize